This is Noahide Nuggets. I'll give you a little Noahide Nugget today. The title of this episode of Noahide Nuggets is called, I am now a Noahide, now what? All right? I'm a Noahide, now what do I do? What's going to happen to me? What am I to expect? I should have done this class 20 years ago to help people along, but now's the time. Everything's about timing. So let's see what King David says about it. All right? So if you have a Bible, go to Psalms 146. In the Tanakh, it's on page 1563. What we're going to do, we're going to look here in Psalm 146 and verse 9. And it says, Hashem protects the strangers, orphans and widows he encourages. So you already see by the context that you have been placed in a category of the fatherless and the husbandless. All right? So I have this piece of midrash here that I blew up, and there is a commentary here by the rabbi, and it says Hashem protects the stranger at all times. God is the protector of the weak and defenseless. When Jews were in exile and they suffer as strangers in a foreign land, or when a Gentile converts to Judaism, in other words, you've left Christianity and now you've accepted the Noahide laws and now you are connected with Judaism. So you've gone from one religion to another religion, right? So when a Gentile who converts to Judaism feels strange, lonely, unknown, he says God is with them all. Now, the Ibn Yahya identifies the word as Magor. Mem, Gimel, Yud, Resh. Magor. This word means terror. This word means afraid or fear, but it means dread. All right? And we're going to get a little bit more into that word of why he brings that word up. He says you have no friends, you feel helpless, vulnerable, and you become terrified because you've just left one thing and you've gone to another. When I first started doing the 7 laws, I called myself Waldo. Where is Waldo? I didn't know where I belonged because I had just left all Christendom, right? And now I'm over here and I'm going to do the Jew thing, right? So most people have listened to Rabbi Singer by this point and figured out that the church was lying to them, right? And so now you follow Rabbi Singer and you've got a grasp on, well, that's a lie. And now what? Now I'm out here just wandering around. So you left religions. You're either a Baptist or Catholic or Methodist or Seventh-day Adventist, a Holy Roller, whatever you were, you just left that religion because that religion you found out it was lying to you. So what do? You say, I'm going to go find out what the truth is. And I'm going to expect these Jews over here to tell me everything. Well, guess what? They're not going to tell you anything. That's the problem. I have all these questions. How did the snake get in the garden? How did Noah feed the animals on the ark? I've got all these questions that were never answered to me. How in the world did Abraham eat with angels? How did the angels eat with Abraham? I got all these questions. Nobody's ever given me any answers. Right? And so, you don't do Christmas anymore. You don't do Easter anymore. You don't do Halloween anymore. You don't have any fun anymore. Well, guess what? You're alone. Your family thinks you've all gone to hell, right? You
Or at least lost your mind.
You've lost your mind, so you don't do any of their holidays anymore. I know, I'll do their holidays. So you ask them, can I do your holidays? Oh, you can't do these holidays. What about Shabbat? Oh, you can't do that. So I'm not this, and I'm not that, right? And what you find out is, okay, so I left all these religions. Well, what about these religions? So are you going to believe the Chabad? Are you going to believe the Breslov? Are you going to believe the Karaites? Are you going to believe the Yemenites? Are you going to believe the what's Briskers? You know? Are you going to believe the Gaon? You know, who are you going to believe? Because they all say something different. So you start studying rabbis. Well, this group says it's the Rambam, and just the Rambam. Well, what about the Ramban? Do we listen to what he says? Is the Ramban wrong? What about Rashi? What about Radak? What about the Ravad? The Ravad comes and says the Ramban is wrong. And all of a sudden you learn this word called Paskin. Paskin means we believe this way. What it really believes is our school of thought is only this way and the others are all wrong. But are the others all wrong? Because they say the opposite of what you say. So you are really confused now. And you're really alone. So my mother was an educator for almost 40 years. And she came and she told me this story one time. And it stuck with me for decades. She goes, I really have a heart for children that are of mixed race. She says, because they don't fit into, they're not black enough to be black, and they're not white enough to be white. And I watched the deal on Mariah Carey the other day where she started dating Derek Jeter. And Derek Jeter was a mixed race kid, right? And she said, for the first time in my life, I didn't feel afraid. I didn't feel like I had to explain who I was, what I am, how I associate, etc., etc. And I thought, you know, I've never thought of that before. And then as I was thinking about this, I was thinking, well, you know, that's what we are. We're not Goy enough to be Goy, and we're not Jew enough to be Jew. So now we got to try to find like minds. And I was watching the movie Selena, you know, about the Mexican pop star that got murdered in Corpus Christi. The movie. It's a good movie. It stars Jennifer Lopez. And her dad said something that really got me one time. He said, you know, it's tough being a Mexican American. You've got to be more Mexican than the Mexicans. And you got to be more American than Americans. He said, it's just exhausting. And I thought, you know what? That's what this is. Being a Noahide is exhausting. You know? And I wish that, thank God, I had Bindle Jones to ask questions to. The original Noahide. Who brought us up. But the new Noahides, who are they going to ask? Oh, don't go to those guys. Oh, don't go over here. Don't go over there. You know, I would want to ask somebody that's been doing it 20 or 30 years. You know, it's exhausting. And then you say, okay, well, I'm single. Who am I going to marry? I can't marry Catholic. Right?
Can't marry Jew.
Can't marry Jew. I've got two sons, 29 and 26. They've been Noahides their whole life. They can't find a girl. It's exhausting. They're alone in the middle. You don't associate with either side. You're not accepted either way. Your parents hate you. Your cousins hate you. You know, you don't come to Christmas. You know, oh, you can't come over here. You know, and so. What do you do? Where do you go? most Noahides are very conservative people. We're going to call them Republicans. Most of them, 99%, are Republican. And they find out they're going to go to the Jews, and guess what? 99% of them are Democrat. And you're like, how can you possibly do Torah and believe like that? It's tough. So you say, I know what? I'll convert. I'll be a full convert. Okay? How many full converts do you know? You need to talk to one of them. Because, oh, I'm a full convert. Well, guess what? You can't marry Cohen. Guess what? You can marry a Mamzer, but a Jew can't marry Mamzer. So you're really not in the clique either. Oh, well, I spent 2 years, I spent thousands of dollars over here in America, and I got my conversion. I'm going to make Aliyah. So you go to try to make Aliyah, guess what? Oh, you went to the wrong political group and got your conversion. You're going to have to do it all over again. How many nightmare stories have we heard about that? You just think you got out of politics in the church. You just went to Judaism and you just got in the definition of politics. It's exhausting. So you think, oh, well, we're going to find a Noahide church. We're going to have a Noahide church, or we're going to create a Noahide church. You just created another religion. You're trying to get out of religion. You go from this religion to this religion. God hates religion. He never meant the Torah to be religion. You got belief systems here. You know, you can follow the guys with the big stribbles on. You know, the big hats. Do we follow those guys? Mm-hmm. That looks like a big alien ship come on their head, or you can follow aliens. We got guys do that. There's a barrage of different things, and everybody says the other one isn't right. You can't read that. You can't study that. You can only study the Chumash, the 5 books of the Bible. No, this guy says you can study the Tanakh. You can't study Talmud. Well, this guy says I can study Talmud. This rabbi says I can. Well, can you study the Zohar? Oh, no, you can't study Kabbalah. Well, this rabbi says I can. This group says you can't. What do you do? Who's going to answer my questions? I want to know. I don't know anything at this point. I want to know. The Talmud says, if you want to know the one who created the universe, study the Talmud. Well, that's what I want to do. Oh, you can't do that. Well, I want to know the emanator. I don't want to just know the creator. I want to know emanation. How did it all begin? Well, if you don't study Kabbalah, you'll never know that. Now you know why you are a stranger. You are a stranger in a strange place. And David knows it. That's why he wrote about it. And the Rav knows, the Rav knows about it. That's why he says God protects the stranger. Because there's many of us who've been blazing a trail through the wilderness with a machete, and nobody wants to follow it. They want to try to make their own. But have no fear. We know the deal. God will protect you. Once you start getting out of religion, you'll be closer to God than you've ever been in your life. Because getting out of religion and getting into all the Torah is where God is. When you pray, you talk to God. When you study His Torah, God talks to you. My rabbi used to tell me, may his memory be blessed, one person's ceiling is the other person's floor. So don't let anybody tell you not to go over here, not to look at that, not to do this, not to do that. You search for the God of Israel in his words, in his Torah, and through his sages, and don't let anybody tell you you can't. And this is a Noahide nugget for the week.